Hi, now we are learning about quantitative research topics, and I will give you some examples about the research topics in communications, extensions, and the common topics in social sciences. The first one is communications. Several topics that are relevant with these communications fields are interpersonal communications, group communications, mass communications, media, psychological communications, organizational communications, communication network, and so on. So you can find other topics that are related to communications. But the basic and the common topics are these topics. So you can see here, for examples for group communication. So how the extensions agents deliver the informations or the innovations to the audience. For example, the audience is the women, the farmers, the students, and so on. And talking about media, some topics that are related to the media is about the effectiveness of the media and also what media that are usually used by the communicator to share the informations to the audience. So, let's take a look at the mass communications. The themes that are related to the mass communications is the media, what media used by the communicators in the social media, in the extensions through the YouTube, through the news or online news, and so on. So you can take a look at the role of the communicators, the effectiveness of the mass communications, and also what types of mass communications that are chosen by most audience. And move on to the next one, that is extensions. So communications is really close to the extensions. Some points that we can understand through the extensions field is the perceptions, attitude, motivations, group dynamics, decisions making, innovations adoptions, diffusions and disseminations, and others. The first one is perceptions. Perceptions is related to someone's knowledge. So after knowing some things, after getting informations from the communicators, it can change someone's perceptions. So perceptions is something that we think that it is good or not good. So based on our opinion, we can give value to someone else or to an object. And after having perceptions, usually we will show our attitude. Attitudes is like or dislike. So we have three components in the attitudes. You can start your research with the cognitive. And the second component is affective. So affective is your feeling. And the last one is the psychomotoric, or we usually call that the cognitive. And the third one is the motivations. So many theories that you can use in these topics. We can use the Alderfer's theories talking about existence, relatedness, and growth. Or maybe you can also have the Maslow theories, hygiene theories, and so on. And you should find other books talking about motivation. There are so many things that you can learn about motivations. And group dynamics. So group dynamics, we can talk about the group, how the group make change, how the group growth, and how the members of the group can make decisions making. So it is really close to the leadership. Okay, because sometimes decisions making is made by the leader. So you can talk about how effective is the decisions making, and also what types of leaderships show by the leaders. And talking about innovations, adoptions. In your research, you can talk about how the members of the group adopt the innovations, or how effective is the innovations adoptions. I mean, is it the process of innovations adoptions? In quantitative research, you can make a scale, for example, from 0 to 100. So, the innovations adoptions is in this range. For example, if the audience or maybe the members of the groups highly adopt the innovations, so it can reach the numbers of 90. Or maybe if the rate of adoptions is very low, it is possible to have in this rate 20. So we are going to talk more deeply about this range in another video. And now the last one is the diffusions and disseminations. So here it is related to the innovations adoptions. For examples, when the extensions agents or the communicators share the informations about the innovations to the group member, and he will disseminate the innovations by using the poster, for examples, or maybe by using the PowerPoint. So here, PowerPoint and posters belongs to the media used by the communicators to disseminate the innovations. So disseminations here is the planned process to share the informations about the innovations. But diffusions is not planned yet. So we can know the difference between diffusions and disseminations. And this is the examples of quantitative research topics for students' thesis. So for undergraduate students, for master students, and also for PhD students, all of you can use these kinds of examples in quantitative research. The first topic is the media. So here I give you examples about the media preference in photography course. So your research is talking about the students' attitudes towards different media of learning in photography course. For example, in the photography course, the lecturers give you 3 medias. They explain the materials by using PPT, posters, and video. And then the questionnaires is given to the students. And the students should choose one media or medium that he likes or they like, or they can also choose more than one media. For example, PowerPoint and posters, because they think that it is really efficient to have a class and to share the materials through by using the PowerPoints and also posters, because you can save it in your mobile phone and you can just read it in silence, for example. So here, your research is going to understand about which media dominantly chosen by the students. Okay? So we can know the dominant media chosen by the students. And the second thing is, do students like using certain media? It means certain media is the PowerPoint and the posters, for examples. And the second topic examples is the interpersonal communications. So one of examples is about the interpersonal communication barriers. Okay? So in the barriers, there are 2 barriers that are going to be explained in your research. For example, the first one is the physical barrier, And the second one is the psychological barriers. So you should make equations about physical barriers and also the psychological barriers. And after that, you can have the options of the answers. So you make equations in the questionnaires. And one types of answers choice is this one. If the physical barrier never happened, so the audience of your research can take this one. And for next questions about the psychological barrier, for examples, if your audience often feel the psychological barrier, so they can take this one. Okay, so this is only the type of answers. So in quantitative research, we need these answers. This is the qualitative data, never, seldom, sometimes, often, always. But in quantitative data, we can change that into the quantitative data. And we can have the range from O, from null to 4, from null to 5, or from null to 6. We don't know yet that the highest points of our data will be 4, 5, or 6 because it really based on our Likert result. So on the next video, I'm going to explain about the Likert. And the next one is the group communications, and one examples about these topics is the role of extensions agent in group discussions. And talking about roles, the extensions agent's roles can be communicator, mediator, and also facilitator. And just like the previous examples, we can also use never, seldom, sometimes, often, and always for the choices of the answers. When the extensions agents plays role as communicators and she often do these roles, so your audience can take this one. Okay, so let's move on to the next one. So the next examples is about motivations. You can also conduct the research talking about students' motivations on public speaking training held by the broadcasting institutions. And here one of the examples of the motivations is Alderfer's theory. In Alderfer's, we have three components: existence, relatedness, and growth. For existence is motivations in showing existence as a student in regional activity. What is the regional activity? That is the public speaking training. And talking about relatedness, relatedness is the social network. So motivations in developing networking during the training. So the audience of the training, the students as the audience, focuses on how they can develop their networking, how they can find new friends during the public speaking training. And the last one is the growth. The growth is the motivations in upgrading the communication skills to reach their dream. For examples, they want to be the motivators so that they should master the public speaking training. And another job, for examples, occupations as a lecturers. So they should also master the public speaking training. So here, growth mean how they can upgrade their public speaking skills to be able to become lecturers, become the motivators, and etc. And here's the examples of the common research in social sciences. The first thing is correlations. So I'll give you examples about correlations between staff's experience and achievement. So this is the variables, staff's experience and the staff achievement. So is there any connections? Is there any relationship? Is there any correlations both between both of them, between staff experience and their motivation and in their achievement? So in your framework of research, you can draw like this. These show the correlations. Okay, we have this arrow. It means that there is interconnections between experience and achievement. And in our research, we want to find out whether there is a correlations or connections between the staff experience and the staff achievement. Okay? And the next one is the influence. So I'll give you examples about the influence of the information's disseminations through the social media towards the women's perceptions. So here we have two variables. The first one is information disseminations by using the social media. And the second one is the woman perceptions. So we are going to find out whether the information disseminations gives influence towards the women's perceptions. We want to understand whether the information's disseminations can change the woman perceptions. Okay, so this is the X and this is the Y. The X mean the dependent variables. The independent variables. So the variables that can give influence to the Y. Y is the dependent variable. The dependent variables is the variables that will be influenced by the independent variables. So you can draw in your framework X give influence to Y. So the information disseminations will influence the woman's perceptions. Okay? Don't worry, I will explain more deeply about research framework in another video. So let's continue about the research topics here. And there are two possibilities of the research findings. The first one is information disseminations through social media does not influence women's perceptions. And the second possibility will be information disseminations through the social media significantly influences the women's perceptions. And if it influences the women's perceptions, so there are two more possibilities that we can gain from our research. The first one is the higher the intensity of information dissemination through social media, the higher the woman's perceptions level. It means that the influence shows by the information disseminations is the positive influence. Another examples of positive influence is the lower the intensity of information dissemination through social media, the lower woman's perceptions level. Okay? So the level will be the same. The change will be the same. If the X will be higher, so the Y will be higher as well. But if the X will be lower, so the Y will be lower. So it is a positive influence. And talking about the negative influence, so here, the higher the intensity of information dissemination through social media, the lower the woman perceptions level. So we have the difference achievement here. The X will be higher and the Y will be lower. Or vice versa. The X will be lower and the Y will be higher. Okay, so it means that the information disseminations will show negative influence. And we are talking about influence more deeply in regressions analysis in social statistics in the next video. Okay guys, so that's all my explanations about our research topics. So you can have another topics, but you can also try to use these research topics on your research and in our courses. So thank you very much for your attention. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask me, and also let's have discussions through our LMS. You can also send me message to my email, or maybe you can also send me message DM in my Instagram. Okay, thank you and see you in the next video.